Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Veer. Welcome.
Thank you.
Come on inside and I'll show you the studio and we can look at some paintings or painting in progress.
Thank you.
Thank you for showing me around your studio today.
Well, welcome, Bella. It's nice to see you again.
Of course. So this is a work in progress. Can you show me or talk me through a little bit of the process about how you started this?
Well, I started this a week ago. First I built the stretcher, then you stretch it, 3 coats of gesso on it, and sometimes I have an idea what I want to paint. Other times I'm not really sure. I just know I need to be painting something. So in this one I really didn't have an idea of what I was going to do. But I happened to look over here, and this is a really old painting that I had to reframe. So I thought, I kind of like that background, the sky and the trees and the vultures. So I thought, well, because I'm kind of a good recycler.
Yeah,
I'll take things and ideas and objects, and I kind of keep reinventing them.
Yeah.
So I just started out with the idea, well, I'll take some aspects of that painting and incorporate it into this new painting, and then this lower half is again a bit of a recycle from like some of these smaller, they're not even studies, they were things that I did sort of in themselves. So it wasn't like I was thinking about, I'll do a study for the painting, because I really don't do studies per se, they just, again, recycle things that I like, or have done that I like, and you can eliminate things that you don't like. Oh, I'm not going to do that again. So there's something kind of useful or productive for me about churning over ideas and things like that.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was going to ask, if you always do studies, but I guess you just have smaller things and then just reuse. So
and it's kind of a repertoire of things I like, certainly creatures I like the moths and the red-winged blackbirds.
Yes.
So I finally paint things that I like, animals, birds, things that you're probably not supposed to paint in contemporary art.
Really? No.
Like rainbows and flowers.
Sure.
I sort of, it's things that I've seen, that I'm attracted to. So I just paint those without any reservation. Who says you can't paint a rainbow?
Of course, well, it works. Can I see some of your inspiration pieces? Like, do you keep any books, or?
I always have things to reference stuff. So if it's a nice picture of a creature, a bird or moth, that I like, I kind of reuse the same image. So like this particular moth, he's right there.
Oh yeah.
So it's almost like assembling a collage. You just take things from different sources and reconfigure in one way or other.
Yeah.
And then a good amount of improvising, like the colors or the light. And that's when you try and pull the thing together. Is usually, at least for me, with the light and the color and the light sources and things like that.
Yeah.
So I have a number of books around with photo sources, mostly of birds and things like that. And I'm not trying to reproduce those photos. Like the swallowtail kites. I've never seen swallowtail kites in that position. But I think if you were an ornithologist, you would be able to at least tell that those were swallowtail kites. And I like swallowtail kites. Up until the French Impressionists, most artists used really soft brushes. They were like mink hairs and sable hair, really soft, because they didn't want any brush strokes to be seen in the paintings. And then when the French Impressionists were out doing landscape and painting really quickly, they didn't have time to smooth things out. So they started using bristle brushes. So ever since then, probably most artists, I don't know about most, but the tendency has been to use a lot of stiff bristle brushes, and I like these because you can get a nice wide stroke, or you can get a thin little narrow stroke. And all I use is linseed oil, because really that's all the paint is. Some cases it might just be dirt with a little vegetable oil in it. So it's almost a primitive caveman kind of material when you get down to it.
Yeah.
And if I do thin it down, I just use some more linseed oil, so it's not like there's any secret formulas or,
Pretty simple.
no cookbook recipes or anything like that.
I remember you talking about the color mixing and mixing the bright colors to make neutrals and things in class. And
You were paying attention.
Yeah,
God
of
bless
course.
her, right. Somebody finally paid attention.
No, I think everybody enjoyed that class. But how has your teaching experience, has it taught you anything about your own painting or
Yeah, that's
art?
a good question, because I always enjoyed teaching because you're talking with and about stuff that you're interested in. It's not like most jobs where you just do it.
Yeah.
So I always enjoyed that, and I took a lot of things from the students. I don't mean like the paints and brushes, but I took a lot of their sort of maybe,
Attitudes or?
well, yeah, a little bit of that, and maybe some of their naive approaches to things. They didn't have a big background in a lot of the visual arts, and there was something kind of fresh about that. And they would do something that you go, that's pretty interesting. Maybe I'll think about that, or maybe I'll try and be that casual about my process at some point. So there was a kind of freshness and willing to experiment that a lot of times they would do.
Yeah.
And I go, maybe I should tap into that a little bit.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it was always, at least from my perspective, a bit of a give and take, what I was offering them, and whether they knew it or not, what they were kind of feeding back into me, and just dealing with so many different perspectives, so many different students coming from different backgrounds and seeing the world differently. It was a way to, that I could absorb and see lots of other.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could point to one specific thing and say, yeah, this is what I did because of
Sure.
of that, but I think it was, a bit like a sponge, just kind of taking things like that.
Yeah, seems like a rewarding experience.
Yeah,
I love
I
that.
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Really a lot like my paintings, it's dense and there's no empty spaces. And I start to realize after a while they really are sort of in sync with the
Definitely.
similarities.
They overlap a lot. Yeah, it does kind of look like one of your paintings.
Yeah. And you see the butterflies and a lot of the animals that I paint, not all of them, but a lot of them are ones that I've seen back here.
Do you ever paint from life back here?
No, I haven't. I go down to St. Mark's Wildlife Reserve and paint, but I've never really done it out here for some reason.
Okay.
I think it's maybe too claustrophobic to sit. It'll almost be like a still life, because things are so up close to you. And that might be something to think about.
Yeah.